Good evening. It's the Women of Dare Whimsy. I'm Sweetie Berry, and I'm looking forward to being with you tonight. Dare Whimsy is a community for gifted and creative girls of all ages where we stop and share a cup of coffee and we have a conversation about things that gifted women face. Gifted girls, teenagers, all of us, hearts of all ages, 5 to 95. Our group's coming in. Dr. Edith Johnson just arrived. Miss Sarah L. Cook from California. Ashley Alico, the artist. We have a whole host of smart women, and I mean smart in that they're seeking knowledge and they're becoming who they are. Together, we formed a community called Dare Whimsy, a place where we release our stresses, restore our faith in ourselves, and relax into becoming the gifted women we are. Welcome, everyone. Dr. Edith, I'm going to pop you in first to say good evening and just introduce who you are.
Good evening. This is Dr. Edith Johnston. I specialize in helping individuals that are missing in action, that are talented and are not sure exactly how and who they want to be and how to express those things. So we make things happen by understanding ourselves, overcoming different messages we've gotten over the years, develop our talents and skills, learn how to express ourselves, and be able to connect with others like us, the world around us, and be able to express our talents through that. So, and our topic tonight?
Our topic tonight is, how do you give compliments, affirmations, and appreciation for other gifted girls and women in such a way that they can receive them? You know, so often gifted women are told they're smart or brilliant or oh so clever, but you know, too many times that's like water rolling off a duck's back. We need to be sensitive to the fact that being smart is not an accolade, and perhaps doing the effort, doing the energy, learning to deal with our giftedness might be a better way to receive and to be able to give the compliments that we so want them to hear about how we appreciate them as people in our lives. We are all different ages. We have mothers and grandmothers, and we have young girls in this group, and I think it's such an important conversation about talking about what it's like to talk about being gifted. And part of the conversations on Between Us Girls is handling the pressure of being gifted, handling the pressure of thinking differently than a majority of the people, and what the gift of that is, and sometimes the burden of it. Good evening to Sarah Cook. Sarah is an author of Raising CEO Kids, and she's joined us from California. Sarah, I would love for you to introduce yourself and tell us about your experience as a gifted mom and wife, and as an entrepreneur who works with gifted women.
Hello, I'm Sarah Cook, and thanks for letting me join this great Google chat. We are raising 3 young entrepreneurs, and my husband is a professor, and I have been in direct sales for many, many years, worked with gifted entrepreneurs as well as people that just have owned their gifts in lots of different facets of their life, whether it's gifted on the IQ scale or gifted in spiritual gifts or in musical talents, lots of different areas. So it's a pleasure.
Well, it's such a joy to have you with us, and we're so appreciative of your time. I know that tonight we changed our time from 9 o'clock Central Time to 8 o'clock Central Time because we had some special guests in another state who have a group meeting tonight, and they're going to be watching us and streaming us and recording us, and so we wanted to make it facilitative for their group to be able to share with us, and they're in a completely different time zone, so we needed to adjust a little bit. And as a person who loves the schedule, I appreciate the flexibility all of you, our audience and our panel members, have made to make this happen for them. Because after all, reaching gifted girls and those who work with gifted girls is our goal, because we've all grown up with a lot of isolation and a lot of lack of support, because we were from a generation where talking about gifted girlness just wasn't really popular. In fact, gifted girl education was not even recognized until 1976 or so. And so while we know they existed from the beginning of time, after all, girls have been in charge of a lot for a long time, we know that public school education and society in general did not have a lot of discussion as a positive way of thinking about gifted girls. This afternoon, or actually it's evening for us in Arkansas tonight, I have the pleasure of having Kristen Schmidt with me, who is the author of Bring Pretty Back.
Hi, everyone.
And she is right here with me in Arkansas. In fact, we are in an unusual location because we didn't even get home from church before it was time to do this. So we are actually in an office of a church in an unusual setting. So I'm going to set a little bit to the side and let Kristen tell you about why giftedness affects her life. She is the author of Bring Pretty Back, and she does wonderful workshops for women who are seeking their way to find pretty in their life again. Tell us what you mean by pretty.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Schmidt, and I did write the book Bring Pretty Back. And what pretty is for me, it's not external, it's about a pretty life and what you do to bring pretty into your life and make yourself happy, make yourself peaceful, and also create pretty around you and your surroundings and your family and your home, and as well as your friendships. So pretty is really about an attitude.
Oh, I love that, because you know, the way we look really isn't our responsibility as far as our gifts. It came into our life from our parents or our grandparents' genetics. It's not something we did, and a lot of people get automatic credits for that. I know I'm just wonderfully looking, and so everybody just gives me bonus points for that natural beauty. But it's more important to me as a mom and now as a grandmother to be aware that the pretty I'm seeking in others is their heart and their mind and their ease with themselves. I know that Dr. Edith has a grandchild, or at least one. I know Sarah has young children at home still and high schoolers. And I know that the majority of our authors and writer team are either currently young mothers, they are either grandmothers, or they are raising stay-at-home folks. I hear Mommy Kate coming into our world right now from a different way, and we're going to let her come in. She is a mom of young people, too, and we're looking forward to her being with us. I'm going to pop me off, and I'm going to put Dr. Edith in so I can help with some technical difficulties for her, and we will let you talk about with me and action people who are having difficulty understanding how to receive compliments about themselves. Dr. Edith, can you share with us about what missing in actions or multi-intelligence, either group, have about receiving compliments? What are some of the problems with giving compliments to someone who is a multi-intelligence person? Because I know there's some really different schematics that gifted girls go through to receive your words of affirmation.
One of the biggest difficulties with multi-talents that are missing in action and being able to receive compliments or accolades or appreciation is they doubt themselves. They doubt that they are skillful enough. They're looking at, have I done enough? Is it perfect? Not understanding, and besides that, I'm diverse. I have so many things that I'm doing. I'm not really a perfectionist at any of them, and not recognizing that each of those things that they do is a success, and it's out of respect for themselves and respect for the other people. When you cannot appreciate someone saying, hey, that was a great job and you did well, you're not respecting them either, and they'll be able to perceive that and to be able to give that to you. But at the same time, you have to be able then to respect yourself and say, I did something. I accomplished something. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I accomplished it, and I did it well. One of the things I like to include is to people to understand that mastery is a journey, and perfectionism isn't in the picture at all. So we want to be able to move forward each day with growth and accomplishment and practice and hard work so that we can be who we are. But to be able to accept that appreciation is respect, and that's what's key, is being able to respect each of us and ourselves and what our gifts are and what we can offer and bring to other people.
I so agree.
It's your turn.
One of the things that I am so aware of is that it's not just respect of yourself to value your efforts, but it's also respect of the person who has taken the time to notice and affirm you. So many times as I work with gifted girls in the classroom for over 20 years, everything from pre-kinder to postgraduate work students, what I found was that so many people are wrapped up in their own evaluation of whether they're perfect enough that they completely ignore the person giving the compliment and the effort and perhaps sometimes even the fear of talking to such a person that they're intimidated by. And that's a disrespect issue. And as a teacher and as a mom, I have to tell you, I'm all about the boundaries. And the boundaries say that if someone's kind to you, you need to be kind enough to respond to them kindly and to take the place of saying, oh, I'm not that smart, it's just an easy thing. That's not being a very kind person. It's more important to me to identify what they said, to hear it well, to receive it, and reflect it back to them. So if you, Dr. Edith, said, sweetie, you're just amazing at cleaning the kitchen, I would probably laugh because I don't think I'm very strong in that area. But I would probably laugh and then say, I'm so glad you think so, and I hope I can live to do that. Because I think my team would laugh silly down the street if you said it out loud, because it's a place I struggle with. And, you know, gifted kids often struggle with everything and perfectionism. We think that if it's not perfect every single time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the day we decide to learn it, we are somehow really awful. And as a Southerner, I can tell you, we like things to be done nice, and we want it to be nice from day one. But messy is part of the process. Being a messy, marvelous person is part of the creation process. Sarah, I know you have struggled with being able to receive these compliments sometimes, but you have done such an amazing thing with written words and also words recorded. Could you share with us about that?
Yes, I definitely have struggled. I know when people have complimented me in the past, and sometimes even now, I find that I shrug it off, but it's been something where I've worked to practice affirming their gift of words to me, because that gift of words to me is something that it's something that they took often courage to share with me, and I find that having courage to share with other people is something gosh, it just takes work. And so as I've learned to say thank you so much for sharing that with me, I really appreciate you being willing to say that. It's given them a gift of affirmation, knowing that they maybe had to take some courage to even say something to me. And then as I've learned to affirm others through writing and through speaking, I have found that that has become a gift of my own, and it's not something that I've always owned as a gift. I used to really be very, very shy, and I used to have a really hard time talking in front of people. But learning to write thank you notes and affirm people for the gifts that they had given me, as well as learning to affirm people verbally and accept those compliments verbally, has been a blessing not only to myself, but to hundreds of other people that I've written to and that I've spoken belief and affirmation to.
I think that's so important. And Sarah, you do something that I think is so valuable as a human, and I do the same thing based on your suggestion and some others that have told me the same. We write things down, but you know what you do that's so special? You pay attention to learning styles. You know that you personally prefer to hear things auditorily, so you've asked your husband to give you praise and to even read his books out loud to you so that you can enjoy his voice reading them. And Sarah makes these amazing affirmations for her professional clients, and she helps them know their personal strengths sometimes before they know them. She speaks life into the skills and the gifts that they have so they can listen to them from a completely unbiased perspective, because, you know, we're very biased as gifted girls. We have opinions and perspectives that we think we know, and she is very unbiased. She's a systems analyst, baby. She looks at what you're doing and what's available to be done, and she identifies where you're strong, and she identifies where you need to grow and puts it in such a way that you can't wait to learn. That's one of my favorite products that Sarah puts out as part of her system structure. And guys, it's like a lullaby. When you listen to her, you just believe you're a better girl, even if you're still on the grow. And on the grow is the key word, because I want to be teachable. And I bet you want to be teachable too. And Sarah is the best teacher out there for gifted girls, but baby, she nails you. Whatever it is, she calls it out, and then she says, you can do this. You're amazing. And you know what? We become amazing when people see us that way, even when it's a really difficult time. My friend Lucianne Mall, he's a biblical counselor, she does one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and that she, on her website, luciannemall.com, has a download. And the very first introduction to her, whether you're a Christian or whatever, what you believe is between you and your God. The God I believe in is Jesus Christ and the Father and the Holy Spirit. but she tells you all of the names that her God, the God, Lord God Almighty, and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit believes about you and helps you form your identity. Lucy, I am seeing your thing on mute, and I'm going to unmute it because I'm concerned that it's not working correctly. But I'm going to pop you into the main frame, and I would love for you to share with us about how you personally give compliments to someone so that they can hear them. What do you do? Do you write them? Do you tell them? Do you study them first? How do you help your clients as well as your counseling clients understand a true compliment about themselves? Oh my goodness, we have a chipmunk. Lucy, without your knowledge, something about your internet is making you come out like a chipmunk voice. We'll hop right back to you in just a minute. Mommy Kate has joined us from a different place. Our kitty cat's going to have a lot of time with that. I'm going to pop Mommy Kate into the space, and I hope she's going to be here. Mommy Kate is a blogger and such a valuable resource. I think she must have stepped away for a moment. It's going to be Edith's turn. Edith, I'm going to pop it to you. Dr. Edith, if you would share with us how it is that you personally help your clients, your patients, and your friends, and even your granddaughter hear and receive positive words of affirmation and confirmation about what you see in their life.
I need them to understand and look at what they're doing and actually repeat it so that they can then say, oh, so that's what you're seeing. And also to encourage them, even if it's that first step, that little step that they've taken forward, which may seem to other people like major leaps, but for each of us, it could be just a little step, that we honor that and respect that also, that you tried, you gave something new, you showed a different side of you, you tried something on for size, you went out and experienced it, you put yourself out there. And even with the grandchildren, you can see them, some other kids going, I don't think I would do that if I were you. And you're going, but why? It's so much fun. It's something new to do. And so to encourage them that. And yeah, I have a couple granddaughters, and we have everything from the princess dolls all the way to the Legos to engineering and everything as part of her toys, her imagination to be able to play with. Well, it's the same with us adults. We need to go ahead and try different things on for size, and we say yes, and saying yes to ourselves, and then being willing to hear that yes from others. And as you were saying, sweetie, is that you have to respect the other person, and it's important for them to be able to expose themselves by saying, you're great. I really appreciated that. I would have never thought to do that. And it doesn't have to be big things. It's just the little things. And again, it's in kindness and in respect for each of us that we say it. And I encourage them to think about, what was the moment that you felt good about it? What was the moment that it brought you a little pleasure? And that has to do with, many times when I'm dealing with clients, it has to do with they're going through emotional roller coasters. And so depression comes in, and denial, and all those kinds of things. And yet, if they would take time, they can see when they were excited and when it was fun.
Yes. Absolutely. You know, one of the things that I really propose for all gifted women, and those who are employers, and those who are mothers, and those who are grandmothers, is this concept: small things matter. I see Mommy Kate's with us. I'm so excited.
Hi.
Small things matter, because so many times the athletic world talks about the product, the winner crossing the finish line. The modeling world talks about the skinniest, the tallest, the deepest, the thickest, the whatever it is. It's the only one, the moment, the end ecstasy moment. But the truth is, we live 24 hours a day, and about 12 hours of those days is process. And so I teach my teachers, and I teach as a consultant to my authors and speakers, that we need to celebrate the processes of daily living that lead to the celebrations of daily life lived well. Because you see, a new book may only be #1 on the best-selling list for 1 day or 10 weeks or even 15 or 20 weeks. But the process that led to that bestseller was probably over a year long. And there's a reason to celebrate the small steps that lead to the big successes. You know, daily life comes every day. And one of the things that I believe is we have to be determined to live well each day, because those celebrations are wonderful. I love to take pictures because by the time the celebrations come, I'm so wild from the tiredness of all of the preparations, I may not even remember that 42-hour celebration after a book comes out or a big event like Recreate next week. But you know what? If I look at my day planner, there are stars and there are sparklers and there are hot pink things and there are red and yellow things that celebrate every single small thing throughout the day that I struggle with. You know what? If I can get the L1 and L2, which stands for laundry 1 and laundry 2, done 4 days a week, that's as big a celebration as a New York hit to me, because I really have to focus to remember, as much as I travel, to keep my clothes ready for the next suitcase. And you know what? That's just as an important part of my career focus as writing a bestseller. It really is. And for me, when I'm working with a traumatic brain injury child or whether I'm working with a high gifted celebrity, if we can create ease in their life because they're so gifted in so many areas, but we can develop a process to create peace in their life and to release the things they're worried about and restore their faith in themselves and relax into being who they are, that's success for this strategist. Mommy Kate, I'm so excited you're with us. If you'll thumbs me up that it's okay to pop you in, I'd love for you to join the conversation. Is that all right? All right. We have a little bit of a drag, so be aware as we ask questions that they may have a 3 to 4 second drag before they hear it in other parts of the United States. So this is my friend, and I'm so pleased she's with us. You'll know her as the blogging mom, Mommy Kate. Tonight we're talking about how to give compliments to our children, our co-workers, and our friends who are gifted in ways that they can receive them. What are some of the things you do with your friends, and I know with your children as well?
Oh, goodness. I usually start the statements with just, I really like, or I've noticed that, and follow with the positive comment. I usually try to tailor it to what the person's going through. If it's my child, I typically like to comment on his behavior, positively rewarding. Hey, I noticed that you did this, and I really like it when. A lot of times with mommies my age with young children, I notice them in the grocery store, and they've just had the battle, of the grocery cart, and I want this and I want that. So I just try to give something that's going to be encouraging to, hey, I've been there. And I've noticed with a lot of women, we really like to have our appearance complimented. And when I meet someone, I try to notice something about them, whether it's their blouse, whether it's the way they're wearing their hair, or just what they're doing. I try to compliment them. But I always usually start it out with, I like.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
great.
I love
That's
that.
great.
You know what? Kristen is here with me tonight, and it may have the wrong name on it, but this is Kristen Smith, who is the author of Bring Pretty Back, and I'm going to step away a minute because she has some wonderful things to share about what it means to give genuine, sincere compliments to gifted, because she is one who's really had to learn personally that because someone sees it different from you doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It means it's a new opportunity for new perspective. And she's had some new perspective training in the last few weeks.
Yes,
and I know it's a fresh subject for her.
Yes.
So I'll turn it over to Kristen.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Kristen Schmidt, and yes, I really have been working on perspective. And sometimes you can compliment someone and they can take it a completely different way, that it's almost offensive because they don't receive it, they don't believe it, they don't believe you're sincere. And I am a very sincere person that compliments people. If I say it, I really mean it, and I really think it comes across that way. I can't not say it any other way. So if I say it, I really mean it, and I hope it comes across that way to someone. But if it's something, you can almost tell when someone's proud of something or they're really feeling good about something. And if you can, it doesn't need to be anything large. It could be something small. Maybe they have a pretty nail polish, or maybe the book they're reading is a really great book, and you say, tell me about that. It's an interest to them, and they love to talk about it. And if you start there, it comes across sincere because you can tell if they feel it. And some people it's very hard for them to receive a compliment. I'm not one of them. As you know, I give you compliment. Thank you very much. I love it. I'm on the other spectrum, but I think if you're sincere, I think that's what really comes across is just being sincere.
I have to laugh about this because I always tell Kristen that she is a gifted LD learner, and that means love me some more. Love me some more. A little bit more. Because she doesn't have a single problem with asking for what she needs, and I love that about her, and she lets people do for her when she needs them to do for us. Isn't that a marvelous gift to everyone when you can be honest with people to say, I need this, and then you're willing to help them when they need that? I have that relationship with Sarah and with Lucy and with Mommy Kate. Mommy Kate, I just have to say that Vicksburg accent is just doing it for me tonight. I love hearing home in your voice, and to me that Vicksburg accent is that. She's not in Vicksburg, I won't tell you where, but she is a wonderful, wonderful place, but her accent is where I'm from, and it sounds like home to me. Sarah, I would love for you to share for just a minute, as the mother of a teenager, what it's like to know that your child struggles sometimes with hearing that. Because I know I have an 18-year-old, and she has to really try hard to receive compliments because it almost embarrasses her to think that anyone's thinking about her. I bet your daughter's a little bit the same way. Could you share with us about what that's like as the director of a large sales team? And I know you work with hundreds of women. We have over 80 specific people in our team. Tell us what that's like to lead a bunch of folks who are having trouble receiving compliments.
I think one of the things that it's hard. Let's be real. It is definitely hard, and I think it takes intention to find out what it is that they most need to hear, and sometimes it takes asking. I know for my daughter, I say, what is it that you are most needing from me today, or from me this week? What is it that you need to hear? Or what is it that you need from me in a way of support? And the same thing with other women. And I'll even say, I need this, and that's that practice of telling people that will support you what you need has allowed other people to say, I need this. And so I will often, when I am speaking with my consultants or with my clients, how can I best support you? And that's a question that has opened up dialogue for people to then get the support that they need. But until you ask that question, often people are kind of embarrassed about receiving help in the form of affirmation, in the form of support, in the form of prayers, in the form of anything. And so I think it's a real gift to others for us to be able to say, how could I best support you today? How could I best affirm you and be there for you today? And that will open up those lines of communication to be able to give the support that they most need and deserve and desire.
I think that is just brilliant. One of the things I admire about you, Sarah, is that you truly listen to the needs of women. I work with you on a team of 80 women, and one small part of what we do together, and we do something called Sharing the S together, where we work with these superstars, as we love to call them, women who are on the grow, who are choosing to be teachable, and they take these simple classes called Sharing the S to learn how to do everything from how to choose healthier foods to where there is how to sell something if that's what they're on the sales team, or maybe how to provide spiritual help to their children. It really is a lot of S's. In fact, Sarah and I had fun with this. We said Sharing the S because her name starts with S and my name starts with S, and I didn't want the only initial when we were shopping one day, so we decided to share the initial we found, and it led to a lot more conversations of that. And instead of her taking home the S to California, or I took the home S to Arkansas or Alabama, we decided to do it long distance, online. And now we're letting some other people join. So if you got an S in your name, or if you know how to write one, we'll let you come play. But the big picture is there are some parts of being gifted that are difficult. And one of them is receiving compliments. So as gifted women, we need to really focus on how to lead our young children, our teenagers, our middle schoolers, and our adults, and how to say truthful things to each other about how this works. And to do it consistently, because you know what? Efforts become outcomes. We don't just need to excel at telling the product is fabulous. You know what? Products are fabulous. That's a win-lose situation. All or nothing. You finished or you didn't. But processes are an everyday, all day long thing. And if we learn to accelerate the times we're noticing and giving notice and effort to those, I think we'll find our girls respond very well to risking the newness of everything, to risking the messiness of everything, because it's not about pleasing. And even though I'm a Southerner, I love to please. It matters more that I learn to get pleasure from learning, and to learn to get pleasure from doing and taking actions and getting outside my own head. Because you know what? Gifted kids love to live in their head, but how much better a life if you do what you dream of. You do what you dream of. Tonight we're closing early at 8:30 Central Time. We have a blog at darewhimsy.com. It comes up on Thursdays. Each one of these presenters have been invited to share a very short sister post about how they manage compliments in their life. Some of them are going to invite you to follow them home to their personal blog or professional blog to hear more about what their perspective is on how to communicate complications. Complications is right. What I meant was communicate affirmations, confirmations, and words that help us grow to your sisters, to your mothers, to your children, to your co-workers, and to those people around you who are gifted and creatives. For we know that when we encourage them, we encourage ourselves. At Dare Whimsy, we believe that when you give a hand up to someone and you help them be who they are, we become more of who we are, and that is a holy place. We want to see gifted girls thrive and to make good choices, whether they're 5 or 95. I hope you'll join us each Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and next week it'll be back at 9 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday evening for live chats. On Thursdays each week, we follow up the conversation on paper. For those of you that want to listen to the conversation, there's a video replay of the time. Or you can simply read the blogs and follow us home. If someone meets your needs or has ideas for what you're struggling with or striving for, we'd love to be a part of your life, and we want to learn from you too. Thank you for joining us at darewhimsy.com. We are the Women of Dare Whimsy, and we're glad you're with us. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.
Good night.
It's like John Boyd. Everybody says good night at once. Here we go. Good night, Sarah.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Mom Kate. Good night, Kristen.
Bye.
See you next week.